10 most important things you should know before ordering your 2023 C8 Corvette Z06. Let's go.
It's right here in the Z06.
Howdy folks, you on the C8 Corvette Speed 252 show. Scroll over to the right, click that subscribe button and join this awesome community. What's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another episode of C8 Corvette Speed 252. And I want to thank each and every one of you out there for pushing that play button today. I hope you enjoyed this video because I'm super excited to bring this information to you. Yes, 10 most important things you should know before you order your Corvette 2023 Z06. With that being said, give this video a thumbs up right now. Wherever you at, push that thumbs up on your screen because everyone needs to know this information. And if you haven't subscribed to this YouTube channel yet, well, I don't know what you're waiting for because I'm going to bring you the latest and the greatest information about the Z06. Also, for everybody that's new to this channel, I will be at the Corvette C8 reveal, and I want you guys to know that I'm going to give you some great information. So with that being said, smash that thumbs up button, subscribe to this YouTube channel, and find out what are the 10 most important things you should know before ordering your 2023 C8 Corvette Z06. Let's go. So, I put a list together of things I think you all should know before you order your 2023 Corvette Z06. Now, if you got any other questions or comments, leave them down below. But in my personal opinion, as a guy that currently owns a C7 Corvette Grand Sport, a C8 Corvette Stingray, and looking and hoping to buy the Z06 if the bank says yes and if God says yes. These are 10 questions I think you guys should want to know before you place your order for your 2023 Corvette Z06 at whatever dealership you decide to go to. Because you don't want to have any sneak attempts by dealerships that will probably try to rip you off in order to buy this car, because it's very possible that Chevrolet may not build so many of these cars, especially with the chip being an issue, supply and demand being an issue, and we already know what the C8 Stingray looked like as far as getting those cars built. And heck, there are still some customers out there right now that still do not have their C8 Stingray, on top of the customers that GM is trying to please across the country with the right-hand drive. So with that being said, these are definitely things I think you should know before placing your order for your Corvette Z06. And once again, if you have any questions, leave your comments down below. You can also email me, which is also in the description down below as well. And with that being said, you guys, let's get into the 10 most important things you should know before ordering your 2023 Corvette Z06. The number one thing I think most people should want to know before ordering your 2023 Corvette Z06, whether or not you're planning to get the entry-level base model Z06 or the Z07 package. Now, we're hoping on Tuesday that General Motors will tell us the differences between the entry level and the Z07 version of the Corvette Z06. I think this is something that you need to know before ordering your Corvette Z06, because you can be able to save some money, or if you want to be that track guy and go out and get that absolute beast of a Z07 package. In my personal opinion, I'm going to be honest with you right now, I have no clue whether or not I want to order the base model or the Z07 package, because I would like to know more things about this car before placing that order. What are you guys' thoughts? Leave your comments down below if you need to know the differences between the entry level and the Z07 package. The number two thing that people really want to know is, what is the red line, right? We saw the trailer that General Motors released recently that I also released in my last video. And a lot of people going back and forth between 8,500 RPMs or 9,000 RPMs. At the end of the day, a lot of people want to know what exactly the RPMs will be on the 2023 Corvette Z06. Leave your comments down below on your thoughts on what you thought that RPM red line was. Another question that you should ask yourself and the dealership, if they have this information, is will the hardtop convertibles join coupes from the beginning? As you all know, when the C8 Stingray first came out, the only thing that General Motors was selling was the coupe. A lot of people went ahead and bought the coupe. But when the HTC hardtop convertible was available, a lot of people decided to buy that version as well. Now we do know the hardtop convertible sold pretty good with the C8 Stingray. Now we don't know is the hardtop convertible going to cost an extra $7,500 with the Z06, but we do know it costs an extra $7,500 with the Stingray. So before you go ahead and start going to the dealerships and telling what you want, figure out, do you want the hardtop convertible or do you want the coupe, and will this coupe and the convertible come out at the same time? Another question you should ask yourself and the dealership is, when does the customer production start? A lot of guys going to go ahead and throw their money to these dealerships not knowing when this car will actually come out. As you guys know, there is still a delay on the C8 Stingrays. Now a lot of customers that still don't even have those cars till this day because of the chip shortage. So one question you would need to ask your dealership is, when does a customer production start? Because that's one thing we all really need to know. Another question you need to know before ordering your 2023 Corvette Z06 is, when will the allocations be announced for the first versions of the 2023 Z06? Because if you go through a small dealership and you're number 1, number 2, number 3, yes, you are on their list as number 1, number 2, number 3, but they may not get a lot of allocations and they may be last to get their cars. If you go through a larger dealership, you may end up being 258, 247, whatever the case may be, but you may end up getting your cars sooner than you expect. So you want to know, how many allocations does your current dealership have and what number you may end up being. Now the other question you should ask your dealership is, in total, how many of the 2023 Z06 production units will be built? Now that will vary, because that's dependent on Chevrolet, one, that depending on the parts, the demand, the supplies, the shortage of things, and how quickly will things come in. For instance, if Chevrolet says we're going to build 10,000 of these Corvette Z06s, whether they're base models or the Z07 package, trust and believe, a lot of the larger dealerships are going to get the allocations first, and the smaller dealerships may end up getting probably about 2 or 3 allocations, because in reality, when you buy this car, Chevrolet want their money, and they do know that the bigger dealerships is going to push these cars out a lot faster than the smaller dealerships. So one thing you would need to ask your dealership is, how many allocations will they get? Because if they don't know that, they won't be able to tell you when you may get your car. I can tell you that right now. I have a few friends that got allocations at bigger and small dealerships, and if they're not honest with how many allocations they're going to get, they don't know when they're going to get your car. That's my personal opinion. That's one question you definitely need to ask. Now another question that you need to know before buying your 2023 Corvette Z06. Now in my personal opinion, I don't care about this, but I do know a lot of Corvette enthusiasts totally cares about this regarding purchasing this car, which is the weight. A lot of you guys are interested in tracking this beast, and I can tell you right now, the weight will be a factor in tracking this car. We do know the C8 Stingray weighed a little bit more than the C7 Corvette in all aspects. And with that being said, the C7 Corvette was definitely a track beast, and we were super excited to see that body style, and so many people still love that body style to this day. When they first announced the C8 Corvette Mid Engine, a lot of people really didn't like the weight that came with that car, because they was hoping for a track beast in the Stingray, even though the Stingray is a good handling car, and I truly love that car so much. But a lot of people, you need to figure out whether or not the weight of this car will keep you from wanting to buy a C8 Z06, or whether you just want to buy a C7 Grand Sport or Z06 because of the weight reduction between the two cars. Another thing that you need to know and ask yourself, and we'll find out on Tuesday, whether or not you want a naturally aspirated Corvette Z06 or a twin turbo Z06. Now obviously we can't go to Chevrolet and say, hey, we want a twin turbo Z06, they're going to build it tomorrow. But a lot of people were super excited to hopefully have a twin turbo inside the Corvette Z06. And in my personal opinion, I think this thing will be naturally aspirated. Now, if it's not, I'm good either way. I'm happy whether it's naturally aspirated. I'm happy whether it's a twin turbo as well. So that's one question you want to ask yourself. Do you want a naturally aspirated engine, or do you want the twin turbo? Now, these next two questions are two of the most important questions a lot of you guys need to ask yourselves and ask the dealership. This next question is going to be a huge thing for a lot of people. And I'm going to go ahead and say it right now. Some of you guys will be disappointed because I personally already know how much horsepower this car is going to be pushing. Now, one of the engineers told me I'm not allowed to say what that is, but I'm going to tell you right now, some of you guys may be disappointed. With that being said, a lot of you guys need to know how much horsepower this car is going to have. Because we do know the Z06 C7 puts 650. Some of you guys are looking for 700, some of you guys are looking for 800, some of you guys are looking for 900 horsepower. With that being said, that is one thing you need to figure out whether or not you're going to buy this car depending on how much horsepower comes in this car. And we will know on Tuesday. And the last and final question that you need to ask yourself in a dealership, because this is one of the most important questions that anybody that's buying this car needs to know, unless you're super rich, and that is, what is the MSRP, right? A lot of dealerships are planning on selling over MSRP, and I don't like that. I'm telling you right now, as a dealership, if you're watching this video, I do not like the fact that you're selling these cars over MSRP. Why? This is supposed to be a hard-working man's vehicle, and you're already listing the price over 10 to 20 to 30K. That's ridiculous. We would love to own this car, but a lot of people can't afford to pay 10 and 20 and 30K over. I can't. I cannot afford to pay that. So MSRP is something that we all need to ask ourselves and ask the dealership what is planning to be. Now, I'm hoping that on Tuesday, General Motors will share the details of the MSRP of this car. And you have to expect that some of these things about this car is going to go up, because the C8 Stingray, in my personal opinion, wasn't a cheap car. I expected out mine came out to be $85,000. I said that in a previous video of mine. So I am hoping that the Z06 possibly start off around 85 to 90K. But that is one question you need to ask yourselves. What will the MSRP be with this car? And if your dealership is planning to mark this car up, because there may be a few dealerships out there that don't mark their cars up, but there will be a lot of small dealerships and medium-sized dealerships that will mark them up over MSRP. So ask yourselves, is it worth it or not worth it? Leave your comments down below. Let's go back over the questions that I listed in this video early on, so you can leave your comments down below. And if there's any more questions that you think you should know, leave those down below as well. First, what are the differences between the entry level and the Z07 version? What is the actual red line? Will the hardtop convertible join the coupes in the beginning? When will customer production start? When will allocations be announced? The total number of 2023 Z06 that Chevrolet planning to build? What is the weight of this car? Whether it will be a naturally aspirated or twin turbo? What is the horsepower? And last but not least, what is the MSRP of the 2023 Corvette Z06? Leave your guesses down below. I would love to see what you guys think of what the actual MSRP of this car may be, and also the horsepower. I would love to see you guys' guesses. I'm going to read all your comments, so leave them down below. With that being said, you guys, I would love nothing more for you to give this video a thumbs up and push it up in the algorithms. And I would love for you to hit that subscribe button as well, become part of this community, because I'm hoping to get the 2023 Corvette Z06 in my garage and bring you the latest and the greatest information regarding that car. So I'm blessed to have you part of this community. I am thankful that you took the time to watch this video today. And I'm looking forward to seeing you, as my friend Mike would say, out on the road.
All of those feelings that I had from the race car, it's right here in the Z06.
Oh, it revs so hard!
Beautiful.